The volume. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ATL Sports HQ live show. Fashionably late as usual, are we? Thanks to technical difficulties. I am Bob Lancaster. You can find me. Whoa! Hold on a second. Live show. It's gonna be one of them nights. I can already tell. I am Bob Lancaster. You can find me at Bowling Bob.
I'm Phil Beasley. You can find me at _ATL Phil.
I'm Derek Clemens. You can find me on Twitter at Derek Clemens.
You can follow us at atlsportshq.com and ATL Sports HQ on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, the show can be found on all major podcast sites, including iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. I mean, anywhere there's a podcast, we're there. If you're interested in writing for the site, we are actively recruiting. Just shoot over a message to Phil on Twitter at @_ATL Phil or me at Bowling Bob, and we will get you started writing with us.
What's
that?
Or DMing people myself and ask them to come.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit you up. Forget you right now. If we think you're good for us, screw it. We're just gonna start messaging you. So let's get right into it today. First topic is going to be some hoops talk. Man, Trey freaking Young, dude. He has been incredible this week. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about the Atlanta Hawks, NBA in general, and we'll also talk about Duke. But let's begin with Trey. Trey Young is on some kind of tear. Unreal. Back-to-back 36-point games, 2 rebounds off a triple-double last night. Hold on, I lost my notes here. Last night, Trey became the first rookie to score 33-plus points with 10-plus assists while earning 13-plus free throw attempts. That's a decent rookie in '85 named Michael Jordan. Are you surprised to see Trey jump off to this start after the All-Star festivities, Phil?
Am I surprised? Yeah, I'm a little surprised. It's great to see. I knew he had this in him. You know, I will admit, when the trade happened, I was very upset. I was not happy. I had my sights set on Luka Doncic. I've never been a huge fan of those small guards, and to be honest, I was a big Dennis Schroeder fan. But boy, I watched tape that whole next day, and then I watched Summer League. I know the numbers weren't pretty, the shooting wasn't good. But I saw the passing, I saw the floor command, I saw the court vision, and I knew that we had something. And, he has that swag around him. He has that magnetism around him. He's someone the Hawks can market. You could feel it. You can feel it in the games now at SunTrust. Oh, my goodness. At State Farm Arena that, this is someone the Hawks can build upon and really capture the city. It's really some exciting times for the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, Trey Young and John Collins combined for 70 points last night, 36 and 34 respectively. Absolutely demolished the Minnesota Timberwolves. They each one of them did whatever they wanted to do the entire night. It was just a beautiful thing to watch and a beautiful thing for the future. And it's in a really exciting time. But back to Trey Young. Just, it's not like he's just doing this. He's doing this nightly now. In the past month, 2 months, his worst game is pretty much a 10-5 night. That's his worst game. So he's putting up all-star numbers. The Hawks have been playing almost 500 basketball for 2.5 months now. It's not like we've just had like a 10-game little stretch. It's the last 30, 35 games where the Hawks are playing good basketball that if they would have started the season that way, they would have been right in the thick of the playoff race already with this roster we have. I can't wait to see what happens this summer and next year.
Yeah. Are you surprised? Hold on a sec here. Are you surprised that Trey's jumping off to this start after the All-Star festivities?
I'm actually not surprised that he's starting to do this after the All-Star. I mean, you could just start to tell before All-Star break, he started to get more comfortable and just have more confidence in his game and what he can do, because he knew the ability that he had. It was just putting it all together at the NBA level. And I think the departure of Jeremy Lin actually helped him a little bit because it freed up more minutes and more control. So, I mean, Trey's running with the second unit at times, and he's running that offense. And, I mean, he's getting a lot of play. And, I mean, he's just taking his game to the next level. And I think we're going to continue to see it happen over until the end of the season. And then going into next year, he's going to continue to add all that skill sets that he has to the game.
Where are all those Jeremy Lin fans that were saying Jeremy Lin should have been started?
They're all in Toronto now.
Yeah,
They're going to have him starting over Lowry soon.
I'm surprised. Actually, being that Trey, really hasn't played this amount of games. He's pretty much within the first half was already at how many games he played pretty much at the college level. So I figured that the NBA fatigue, the NBA wall, I guess as they call it, would hit him and he would slow up. And, I think it was the Detroit game where he started to show, a little bit of that fatigue. And John Collins just rips into him very loudly in the arena. And it kind of just, ever since then, it just kind of lit a fire under Trey. But the biggest difference to me is he's starting to find that three-point shot, and that's where he is deadly. If he starts to get any kind of rhythm with the three ball, we're going to start seeing a bunch of wins, and, him and John Collins are going to put up that 70-point a game, pretty much every game. They have that potential to do that. So I am a little surprised, but I'm very happy to see, because unlike Phil, I was the one that was ecstatic that they traded for him, just because I saw the potential in him for the city of Atlanta, what he could do for this franchise as a game changer, the excitement that he brings. I mean, not a knock on Luka Doncic. We all know what he would have brought to the table here, but I just don't think he would have connected with the fan base like Trey has managed to do here. I mean, it seems to be all the talk around here right now. There's not, we're not quite to Braves season yet. We're past Falcon season. So now what you're hearing everybody talk about is Trey and JC.
Yeah, when Trey Young is hitting his three, it completely opens up the offense for the Atlanta Hawks. The opposing team has to come up on Trey, and then his ability to drive to the basket or find the open man if the defense collapses or get to the line is unparalleled for a player of that size and stature. It's really an amazing thing. In the month of February, that's 12 games now. I think that's including the rookie-sophomore game. Trey Young is averaging 23.3 points a game, 9.3 assists per game, and 44% from three. That is elite. He may be looking at, now I don't know how heavy they carry wins and losses in this, but he may be looking at Eastern Conference Player of the Month, not Rookie of the Month, but Player of the Month.
Well, you put it good. You actually said what I was going to say next after you, is that when he is hitting that three, it opens up right underneath the basket. So we've seen more, I think, open slam dunks in the last 4 games, and I think we saw the entire, first half. It just seems like there's been a lot of open men underneath the basket, and that's what him drilling the three can do. Because they start having to bring 2 to double team him. That leaves 1 open. He's such a crisp passer that he just is able to create points that way as well. So are we now looking at the tightest race for Rookie of the Year since Grant Hill and Jason Kidd shared that award, Derek?
In my opinion, I do think that it should be closer than what it is, but I think the league already decided who was going to be their Rookie of the Year after a month of basketball, and I think Luka's at the top. And they probably don't even look at it as it's close. But I mean, Trey Young's making it interesting. I mean, he's caught up with him. He just had that one. I mean, it wasn't even a bad month. He just didn't shoot the 3 ball well. So
but Derek, has the league decided that, or has ESPN decided that?
Yeah, it's mostly mainstream media that has put Luka in that front runner position. So I mean, it just that makes people lean to Luka. And I mean, we've seen more Luka in the media, so people assume that he's the top leader in the rookie of the year race.
Yeah, because I also thought like you in the same regards as far as like the NBA. But if you look at it, Trey has won these NBA Rookie of the Week awards, and so he seems to be getting the love around the league, but definitely not getting any love in the mainstream media. But Phil, what do you think, man? Are we starting to look at a tight race here, or do you still think it's going to be all Luka?
Luka, unless Trey can absolutely continue on this monster tear, it may get close. But I think right now that month of November is just going to set back his averages enough for Luka to do it, for Luka to get it. Also, the Mavs, they're not going to make the playoffs, but they've been a competitive team all season long, whereas the Hawks pretty much just started playing really good basketball in January. So it's going to be tough sledding, but he has 20 more games to make his case. And I'll tell you, he's doing a really good job right now. This is the best stretch of basketball. Luka has had great games. He's had a few 30-point games. He's had a few triple doubles, but he has not put together a consistent stretch like this. And also, when you look at the splits, Luka's numbers are not much different. Luka's shooting numbers are not good. So it's not like Luka just came in and was this all-star all of a sudden, even though some people thought he was going to be an all-star this year. No, he did not deserve it. But Trae Young's numbers, I'll tell you this, if you give me the full list of splits with the shooting percentages, the assists, the impact of the game, I'm taking Trae right now.
Yeah, I agree with you both. Where I think that it's still Luka's to lose. The problem that I see is that it just seems like every time Trey puts up a really good game where it gets us talking here in Atlanta, Luka comes back, puts up a triple double, and then no one wants to talk about Trey. They only want to talk about Luka's triple double or Luka's 20-point game, or and that's why when we go back to mainstream media not wanting to cover Trey Young, I mean they firmly established who they wanted at the beginning of the year, and so they stuck by that, through the amount of games that Luka's been on national TV. The coverage that he's received with interviews and stuff like that, people seem more interested in him than Trey. But, honestly, I don't think Trey minds, though. Trey just wants to go out, play his game, and let his results on the court determine who the better player is going to be. But I think that as far as the competitive side of things, Trey sure, he showed that in the skills challenge. He clearly wants to beat Luka, so, I mean, he wants some of that recognition, but I think, like I said, the NBA does show some faith in Trey. But again, I think the mainstream media is going to direct it towards Luka.
Trey likes the underdog role. It fuels him.
Yeah, he's embraced that well. I mean, and now he's just having fun when he plays. You can just tell, Nicole, he's just having fun. He's just so confident with his game now.
It seems like too that the Hawks' pace of the game is now coming back to Trey, that he's now directing the pace instead of him being so far ahead of speed and ball handling as the rest of the Hawks. That game is finally coming down to him. They played with the rotation a little bit, gone a little bit quicker, and it shows. I mean, again, the turnovers have come down. There's still the occasional brain farts that happen. But I mean, I see way less than what I saw in the first 2.5, 3 months of the season. So, rookie of the year, definitely something to watch out for. Let's hope that he, comes back and makes it super close. But I still think it's Lucas to win. But let's actually talk about the Hawks as a team. They split the last 4 wins against Phoenix and Minnesota and losses against Detroit and Houston. Phil, can we officially call Trey and John Collins the duo?
Yeah, that's our big 3. We just don't have the third yet. I mean, for Trey Young and John Collins to combine for 70 points in one game This is a rookie and a sophomore, and that sophomore missed a good chunk of this season. The chemistry those two have displayed from training camp on before John Collins got hurt is just unparalleled. You remember in the first preseason game, uh, Trey Young lobbed it off the backboard for John Collins in the first preseason game. That's crazy for these two to have that kind of connection, and you could just see them on the court after every alley oop. They're celebrating together. They have an elaborate handshake, post game, pre game. Just you can tell those two really enjoy playing with each other. And there's going to be some more big stars that really like playing with Trey Young. The future of this team is absolutely bright. The fans are starting to take notice. The atmosphere at State Farm Arena is starting to feel more like the winning times again. It's really exciting. Um, and just shout out Vince Carter for last night. Vince Carter and DeAndre Bembry. If it wasn't for their games last night, we're not in that game. For as amazing as Trey Young and John Collins were last night, we don't win that game without DeAndre and Vince Carter.
Phil's kind of skipping ahead and talk this because we're actually going to talk about Vince off the bench, especially in this last 4-game stretch. But first, Derek, I want to get to you, man. Are Trey and John finally the duo?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like Phil mentioned, I mean, you just seen it instantly. You just seen them click together, and I mean, they're a fun duo to watch, and the team is easily pushing them to the front runners as the two faces of the team. And I mean, they're embracing it well. I mean, they like each other. You can tell on and off the court. They've done interviews and stuff together on different shows and stuff. There was just a new one that came out on Uninterrupted. So, I mean, yeah, and then their play on the court, that chemistry is just unmatched at such an early stage. I mean, John Collins didn't even play the full season. He missed games, and as soon as he came back, I mean, it was just there automatically, the chemistry, and they just strive off of each other.
Yeah, one of my favorite things. I'm a big fan of like a teammate connection. I got lucky that in my childhood I got to see Kemp and Peyton and Malone and Stockton. And though what made these guys great was that they really, you could always tell that the ball handler always knew where his duo was, and so you start to see that. Trey, just his passes are so right on right now. Again, at the beginning of the year, he tended to overthrow a little bit, but lately, I mean, if John is underneath the basket ready, then it seems like Trey finds him every single time. I mean, really, in the last 4-game stretch, I think there was maybe just a couple of turnovers where the ball went to John Collins. One was him trying to recreate Steph Curry's bounce dunk that didn't work out so good, that at least led to a basket. But and so I do think they're the duo, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for the both of them. We'll discuss what those two bringing, to potential free agents here in a couple segments from now. But how impressive has Vince Carter been off the bench? You guys can add DeAndre Bembry if you want, especially for yesterday. Bill, you kind of touched on this just a little bit, so I'll let Derek answer this one. How impressive has Vince been off the bench?
I mean, it's very good for the team. I mean, he's been very good shooting the 3-ball and, I mean, attacking the rim and just helping the young guys when he's on the floor. I mean, I didn't think that he would have such a big impact when we signed him. I thought he would just be one of those guys in the leadership in the locker room. But, I mean, his play on the court has been great, and it's helped us win some of these games, especially in late-time situations.
Yeah, I think, what was it? Was it the Detroit game where he put up 16 and 16?
Yeah.
That's pretty dang good numbers for 16 minutes. But, Phil, what do you think about the overall bench play, not just Vince?
Yeah, the bench, some games, when Herter was out, we were struggling because we had Bazemore and Prince starting.
Mm-hmm.
I really like when one of those guys are off the bench. But last night, DeAndre Bembry, 16 and 14, he was an absolute menace. He was all over the court. His hustle was unmatched. He is one of the smartest players on the court. I tell you what, if he ever gets some ball handling skills, and he's going to be an amazing playmaker. But back to Vince Carter. I know y'all saw it the third quarter when he rose up and almost ended the world. He got so high up. I couldn't believe my eyes. And then I'm about to post a picture for you guys to see on.
Yeah, hopefully, I was gonna say, hopefully we'll find a video of that. We'll find a GIF. We'll put it on our on the HQ Twitter for you to check out. It was a pretty impressive play, but like Doug said, and when I saw it too, I was like, if Vince dunks that ball, the arena just goes crazy. But I mean, even with just the play alone,
the arena, the world, that would have been number one, number one play of the year on ESPN. The other bench would have went crazy. They would have had to stop the game and just give them.
We just been all of a sudden putting them in the highlight plays. I mean, the Trae Young dribble. Now you got Vince Carter posting youngsters. It's been good. I mean, but yeah, Vince and Bembry. Bembry continues to be my most improved player this year. Never expected that from him this year, so I'm very happy. It's making me feel that maybe it was health issues instead of just his game. His conditioning seems to be a lot better this year. I think Omari Spellman could learn a little something from him because I swear every time I see Omari on the court, I think he went and had donuts before the game. But he's a rookie. He's enjoying the fruits of that money and getting to have those meals and stuff like that. But if you're listening, Omari, I love you, bro. I'm just playing. I'm not a skinny dude either. So, but well, tying this all together, are the Hawks to the point now that they have their big two, their duo, where they should now go after the big name free agents after this year, Phil?
I don't know. I mean, of course, you should do your due diligence and call around. See if big names want to come in for a meeting. Hey, you should never pass up an opportunity to be better. But you don't wanna commit the crime that LA has. You do not want to kill your youth and basically kill your chance of competing for championships for a short term boost, pretty much. We have to be smart about this. We're building something special. And I'll compare it to LA again. LA had a very good young core that is now fractured and damaged because of LeBron James. And for the greatness that LeBron James is, they're not winning a championship with him. They would have to sign one more major free agent. They would not be favorites over the current form of Golden State if you even put Anthony Davis on that team as currently constructed. So you have to be careful not to mortgage your future in order for some instant gratification. We got to keep building this the right way. But eventually, you have to have stars to win.
Derek, what you think, man?
I actually think, why not? You might as well pursue and try to get someone. We're obviously not someone to the latitude of LeBron James that literally changes your whole thing. But hey, why not give Kevin Durant a call and see what he's thinking, see what he wants to do and stuff. And people we need shooters. I think Klay Thompson's a free agent coming in next season. Maybe the next season he might be. But so, call around for that. Maybe give Jimmy Butler a call. Maybe. I don't know. He can mess up.
Are you kidding me? Come on now, man.
But it's never a bad thing. Especially with the way that we're building. And Trae Young is going to bring people. Shooters are going to want to play with Trae Young because of the way that he's able to get people open and the attention that he brings off of the ball. So, it can never hurt to try to pursue someone.
All right, Derek, if you could bring in one free agent after this year, who's your guy? Like that you would fit in.
Just anyone? Kevin
No,
Durant.
Anyone.
All right, Kevin Durant then.
Phil?
Well, come on, Kevin Durant.
But he would play well with them too. Because he doesn't demand the ball as much as a lot of superstars do.
I wouldn't mind Klay, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that would be my second.
Klay is. If you're playing who, ever. I mean, obviously, who doesn't want Kevin Durant, but people that I realistically think that we could get in here, I think he would relish the chance to be away and have a chance at a championship because he would be viewed as an instant leader of this team, regardless of Trey and John Collins being here. The name brand, that he would bring here would bring a lot of attention to this city. But I do think we're getting to the point where we are going to start being in the discussion of people wanting to come here. Like you said, people want to hook up with a pure shooter, like Trey. So, it's nice to even be talking about the fact that, we could potentially be bringing in bigger guys. I still don't think we're going to get the elites, but I do think we could get some bigger names in here. But I disagree with you 100% on Jimmy Butler. He is a fractured guy, and I don't want him here. Everybody in chat is heavily against you on that as well too. So, all right, let's get into
that defense stands out for me.
What's that?
I said that defense, his defensive mentality stands out to me.
Yeah, there's better guys. Let's get into controversial stuff here. This kind of got ATL Twitter in an uproar last night, and it very well should have been because ESPN is the biggest sham in history. The ESPN top 25 under the age of 25 came out last night. I'm going to run through the list here. Number 1 was Giannis. Number 2, Joel Embiid. Number 3, Nikola Jokic. Number 4, Karl Anthony Towns. 5, Ben Simmons. 6, their boy Luka Doncic. 7, Donovan Mitchell. 8, Jason Tatum. 9, De'Aaron Fox. 10, Devin Booker. 11, Kristaps Porzingis. 12, Pascal Siakam. 13, D'Angelo Russell. 14, Lauri Markkanen. 15, Clint Capella. 16, Jaren Jackson Jr. 17, Jamal Murray. 18, DeAndre Ayton. 19, John Collins. 20, Jusuf Nurkic. 21, Marvin Bagley. 22, Karis LeVert. 23, Kyle Kuzma. 24, Lonzo Ball. 25, Jaylen Brown.
Hold on, you forget somebody.
Not one mention of Trae Young. What is this like the most sham list ever? Who wrote this list, Phil?
Oh my goodness, what a terrible list. I mean, you look up and down the list, it's like they just picked the names out of the bucket and said, all right, this sounds good, go ahead and hit publish. This is ESPN, not not ATL Sports HQ. Well, now I'm playing. I want to disrespect us like that. We got some very good people.
Maybe we need to make our own top 25 of 25 list. We're not, we're no different than ESPN, right?
I can't understand for the life of me. I can't see how you could leave Trae Young off the list. When did they make the list? Did they make it in November? I don't understand. Trae Young absolutely deserves to be on that list, and then some people absolutely do not deserve to be on that list. He better have been 26th on that list. But then again, how could you put some of those people above Trae Young?
How is Lonzo Ball above Trae Young? I'm sorry, man. He's just another manufacturer of the ESPN machine. He's not that good, and yet he gets all the love in the world. What do you think of this list, Derek?
I mean, you just look at the bottom 2 people. They're obviously not better than Trae Young. I mean, Trae Young should be over there. But there's a lot of things on this list that needs to be maneuvered. And, I mean, just looking at this right now, I mean, Collins should be higher. I mean, I don't think Jaren Jackson or Ayton's better than Collins right now. And this was also based off potential. So I definitely think Collins has showed that he has more potential than a few of those guys. So I mean, there's a lot of it needs to be reorganized. I mean, it's a bad list.
Doug said it way. He's like, Collins is better than Lauri Markkanen. And that's the first one that jumped out at me too. I'm like, really, John Collins on that list less than Lauri Markkanen? Come on, man, it's horrible, dude. But you know what? Every time they come out with like the NBA top 100 list, I never, ever agree with that either. I mean, so, yeah, it's up to everybody. This is one of the worst I've seen in a long time. So, Phil, I think that you and I need to co-op on an article of who we think the top 25, under 25 is in the NBA, and that way we're not having the ESPN bias. We'll have the ATL bias.
For sure. I mean, I'd invite more people on the site to do it, but then it might not come out till next year. So, I mean, you got
Yeah, but I figured we had to go over that list just because it came out and Trey wasn't on there. So that's something we had to discuss. Well, let's finish off the basketball talk with Duke. Duke still without Zion and all of a sudden can't win big games. Coach K panics and plays redshirt phenom freshman Joey Baker against Syracuse, which means he blows his redshirt 23 games into the season, which makes zero sense. When I saw him check into the game, I was like, what are you doing? Which leads me to believe that Zion is not coming back. I cannot believe that they would blow Joey Baker's red shirt if they were told Zion's not coming back. But my question for you, Derek, is going to be, does Duke have any chance in the tournament if Zion doesn't come back?
To win the tournament, no. They have a chance to make a little run, maybe Sweet 16, maybe. I mean, it's pushing it to say Elite 8. They're just not built. They don't play well together. I mean, RJ and Cam don't play well together. And, I mean, Zion, he's obviously was their anchor, as you can tell, as their performance recently. And if he doesn't come back and they don't have that guy that can just change an entire game, then no, they're not a top team in college basketball right now.
What do you think, Phil? They have any chance to win it all?
absolutely not. They will absolutely be disappointed in the round of 64 by some random little school that we've never heard of if Zion does not come back.
Yeah, I don't think they have a chance either. Derek kind of put it the way I wanted to, except my thing is Zion always had a way of making that one big dunk or that one big play that seemed to change a momentum into where even if Duke was down 10, 15 or so, they were able to come back. It just seemed like the emotion of the team was changed when he did something big. Real quick, Derek, forward to this, who you think's going to win the whole thing this year?
You put me on the spot. Oh my gosh.
It's wide open this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. I would have to sit down and really look at it. I don't even want to throw a team out there yet.
Bill, you got a prediction?
Yeah, Kennesaw State University.
But no one a few wins out, I think,
Conference tournament, and then they're gonna sneak in a 16th seed, and there you go.
Let me say, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna say an early pick. This is liable to change. I'm gonna say Michigan.
Michigan is very sneakily good. They are someone that I think is good. This isn't good for AU. I see Phil's facial responses on air. We'll get to AU. Give it a few here, Phil. But I'm going to go with Gonzaga. I think this is the year. It's wide open. They're back to number one in the AP poll. They beat some of the really bigger teams. But the team that scares me, other than Michigan, is Virginia. So they are prone to going on winning streaks, but they are also prone to be gone in the first round.
Yeah, I don't love that system. I just think sometimes in the tournament you need some scoring.
Yeah,
all D it seems like.
Exactly what happened to them last year. They dominated, went into the tournament, and they weren't a tournament team. And so that's again, they could either go a long way or they're going to be out quick.
Yeah, that defense. Defense is going to help you in the tournament, but you have to have an offense because teams are going to find a way to score, no matter how well your defense plays in the tournament.
This could be the year that someone wins it that we least expect. I mean, some of these smaller conference schools that we haven't heard of, just because it's so packed in. I can pretty much guarantee that no one from the Pac-12 will win it because those teams are absolutely garbage. So, my Huskies are the best team in the Pac-12 this year, and they're not going anywhere in the tournament. So, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really looking forward to the tournament this year. But let's go ahead and move on to the AAF and our proud Atlanta Legends football team. Legends whooped again, 28-12. This time to, I guess, was their rival Birmingham. Uh, Another offensive coach, our play caller for the team, quits 2 days before the game. Are we already over the AAF and this Atlanta team, Phil?
I didn't even know about it. There's so much drama, I can't even keep up. It's ridiculous. But it's starting to look like more and more that this is not going to work out. They hyped it up. It seemed like they got some money behind it. They got a good TV contract, but they can't stay out of their own way. And I feel like I can say this more here than as opposed to Game Time Radio. But our good host over at Game Time Radio, E, has been trying to get in contact with their PR department so we can go cover them. You think, yeah, a new team. They want anybody in the city. They want as much publicity as possible, just like our good friends at Atlanta United. Nothing. No return emails, no return calls. What are you doing? What's really going on here? You had Michael Vick listed as a coach, but he wasn't even with the team. He was with the league. It's enough is enough. And then the on the field product, we haven't even got there yet. We're absolutely dreadful. I think we've been outscored about about 130 to about 40 so far in 3 games. I think we got a good chance of going 0-10. We're the worst team in the league. The city, I'd say there was maybe 8,000 at the first game. I don't know when the next home game is, but I guarantee you it won't be more than about 3,000 or 4,000 there. Meanwhile, other cities are supporting it pretty good, but we can't get out of our own way. I feel like the city would have embraced it, but why? Who's gonna go out their way to spend money for an awful product like this?
All right, I'm going to quiz here, Derek, because I couldn't do this. I'm going to be dead honest with you. Other than Matt Sims, Derek, who is a starter on this Atlanta football team?
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. I have zero clue. And I tweeted one of their games. I have no clue. I mean,
does that start? I mean, does that count?
I know Young Ho Koo. That was it. That was the only guy that I knew the entire thing. What was his name? He used to play for Jacksonville. Rob Robinson or.
Denard Robinson.
Yeah, Denard Robinson. I recognized him, but he's the backup. He was the backup running back. But yeah, naming starters, I couldn't tell you any. So that tells you right then and there that I'm going to assume that you're over the AAF and this Atlanta team.
Yeah, I gave him one game, and I mean, it's unwatchable. I mean, them at least. I mean, I haven't really paid attention to the other teams, so I can't speak on them, but the Legends are not even close to Legends, and they're just unwatchable to watch.
Oh, God. Dougie, he's like, I'd rather watch lingerie football games than the Atlanta Legends. That's a fair assumption.
I'd rather have KSU season tickets to their basketball game. Goal, Joseph Martinez. What a goat.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But yeah, my thing is you marketed the fact that Aaron Murray was your quarterback to start like this. That was your marketing campaign for this team. And and then you don't even start him. You start a guy who is essentially an NFL flunky. Could even make it as a backup in Matt Sims. And, so you just failed to begin with. So, yeah, I'm over it. But another week and yet more drama for this league. This week they were sued by Robert Vaness saying he should be entitled for half of the AAF due to them stealing his ideas. And apparently they were offered a buyout from Vince McMahon for the XFL. Vince McMahon realizes what a cluster this league is, bails out of that agreement. Can the AAF afford this type of media with the XFL waiting in the wings, Phil?
No, they can't even get good media because they won't even let good outlets like us come cover them.
I agree. Derek, you think they're going to be able to, they should be doing this with the XFL waiting?
I mean, they're missing a lot of opportunities. I mean, like the TV deal that they have. I mean, they haven't really taken advantage of opportunities that they have. So no.
Well, they're just not marketing anybody. Again,
Yeah.
I couldn't. Other than I think the name I hear the most is Trent Richardson, as probably the most marketable star that they have right now, or a guy that they're trying to push as that agenda. Essentially because he plays for Birmingham, so you have that Alabama connection, and that's how you need to market for your team. Again, Atlanta started it off well by marketing Aaron Murray, but it never worked like that.
And
What's up, Phil?
oh, go ahead.
I thought you were going to say something.
They should have stuck to cities that weren't NFL markets. I don't know where else overlaps. It might just be Atlanta. I don't even know.
That's actually a good idea. I agree with that.
Those cities to build other fan bases.
Because if you look at like the basketball, you look at the G League. It's in smaller cities that don't get that NBA, really NBA type action, and they draw a smaller type crowd, but it's what you expect from minor league. Same with baseball. Minor league baseball teams aren't in the biggest cities, So that's actually a really good idea too, but it's failing to me. Again, you put it really good with the fact that when we can't even find out who your media relations guy is, you're failing on that behalf. We literally want to cover you, and you can't return our emails and stuff like that. Nothing makes me disinterest your league more than you not wanting to help me promote this and make it bigger. So, especially as a radio station. So, I mean, if they don't want to invite the ATL Sports HQ live show, they're missing out on that. But I mean, to not want to invite a radio show, where we could literally be talking about them. Like I said on Sunday, I was like, hey, well, I'll put you in the seat next to me if you'll give me access to your games, So I don't know, man. I'm over that, but
yeah. Shout out Game Time Radio. Tune in Sunday at 6.
All right, let's get on past this AAF. I'm tired of talking about it. It's a waste of my time. So let's get on to a real team, the Atlanta Braves. Bryce Harper finally signed today. 13 years, $330 million, no opt out, full trade. The majority of his money will be up front, where the back end deal it will be less money. It's actually a really, really good deal for the Phillies. But knowing what it took now to sign Harper, are you okay with the Braves not being in on him, Derek?
I mean, that deal is ridiculous. How old will he be? In his 40s or something?
30, 36, I think.
36.
39, 30, something like that.
It's not worth it. I mean, for a deal at that latitude, I mean, it's just not worth it. I mean, especially for a team like the Braves that have a bunch of young guys that are becoming their own powerhouse. So, I mean, it's definitely not worth it.
Phil, what do you think, man?
Honestly, I would have took that deal in Atlanta. Those last few years, he's only getting $22 million. He's getting $30 million up front this year, $20 million signing bonus, $10 million. They don't call it cap hit in the MLB, but whatever they call it. But that's actually not too bad of a deal. He's still on the younger side. It's just, you look at Albert Pujols as the recent kind of break hitter, as he's really just fallen off a cliff. But that's kind of upsetting. He's staying in the division. That would have been a great player, obviously, to have here in the young mix with Atlanta. And, $22 million 13 years from now in the MLB, that's not going to be too much. You have to figure with the way the economy is going and everything like that the money spent around the league will continue to increase. That $22 million in 13 years from now, whatever year that'll be, 2032, that's not going to be too bad.
What's amazing to me is that with him taking the deal that he is, it still leaves Philly with $76 million that they can play with without going into the luxury tax. So they could essentially go sign one more big type player, Craig Kimbrell, Dallas Keuchel. But I disagree with you 100%, Phil. Mainly just because for the fact that I have yet to see a long-term deal like this pan out past 6 or 7 years. Because this deal, when it was signed, reminded me of how I thought Albert Pujols, when he left the Cardinals to go to the Angels, was going to be this exact type of deal. You picked up a young player in his prime, took him into his 40s, and now you look at Pujols in the last 4 years, hobbled by injury, Angels paying him an incredible amount of money. I'm not a long-term guy. I just never have been. I'm glad that they didn't go to 10 years. I'm glad they obviously didn't go to 13 years. I like that. I like the idea of paying him a boatload of money, but doing it for like 5 or 6 years. I would have been perfectly okay at $40 million a year for like 7 years. So, but I just don't like that 10 to 13.
I was about to ask, would you be okay with that longer? I mean, with that shorter, higher money?
Yeah. Well, right now, I mean, he's worth he's worth every penny in the game. But what makes this interesting, though, is Mike Trout is right around the corner for who could exceed this deal, who could compare it, and I would much rather have Mike Trout if you're going to go to a long-term deal than I would Bryce Harper. So, I've always been on the plan where we got so many prospects, see what the Angels want. If he decides he's not going to resign with the Angels, see what the Angels want to do to possibly move him. And we have one of the best shots at getting him if that ever becomes an option. I just can't see the Angels ever getting rid of him. But hey, shout out to Bryce Harper. I mean, he stayed firm to what he wanted, and he ended up getting it. But I don't want to hear another player on Instagram or Twitter talking about collusion ever again when $630 million has gone out in the last week and a half. I'm not buying that collusion crap anymore. So, yeah. So I've been seeing it all especially on Instagram and Twitter, and that's pro players talking about just how they're not getting their money. So I just don't want to hear that anymore. But Braves pitchers are missing starts due to elbow soreness and shoulder fatigue. Should we be concerned, or is this exactly why we have stashed so much pitching prospects, Phil?
Well, that's why. That's a good thing that we have all this young talent stashed away. But that is very concerning that you see pretty much your ace in Fulte having some elbow discomfort before the season even begins. That's our opening day starter right there. So that's not a good sign when you're coming off a division championship and expected to do very big things this year. We need him healthy. I think that's the one that we can't afford to lose.
Yeah, Derek, what do you think, man? Is it this good that we have so much pitching prospect now?
I mean, yeah, that obviously helps, but I mean, it's never good to see your pitchers deal with the elbow soreness because these are stuff that can affect you the whole season. So, I mean, but hopefully the younger guys step up and can help, and hopefully their injuries aren't as serious.
Well, especially what's hard is when one of those guys is Mike Fultonavich. I mean, that's your ace. We didn't go get an ace, so he's the guy we consider to be our ace. And so that's a little concerning, and especially because he's so young, and has never had the Tommy John surgery. So, it's definitely, that part's definitely concerning to me. Mike Soroka is another name of a guy that he's also got shoulder fatigue again after having shoulder fatigue last year. And he's someone that I projected to be pretty high in our rotation this year. Kevin Gausman hasn't thrown yet. Julio Teheran hasn't thrown yet. In fact, Tukey threw his second start today, and we still haven't seen Kevin Gausman or Julio Teheran yet. So that's kind of concerning as well. So, real quick, I'm just going to throw something out here just because it was a big discussion in our chat, and it's been a big discussion all around Twitter about Liberty Media and the report coming out about profits, how much profits they made with the Braves last year. I'm definitely agreeing. Ryan, he's in chat with us. Him and I, we just disagree. I think we disagree, but we disagree about the same things. Just we have different points of view on it as to where we see the number for profits that Liberty Media is making. We're not seeing any big free agents coming in here. The money not being spent, other than you know, Josh Donaldson and his 23 million, which is only on 1 year. Is that it, the problem is when you're owned by a corporation like that, you're just an entity in that corporation portfolio. And so the bigger picture is that to them is profits aren't just gate, what tickets, ticket sales, gate sales, and stuff like that. They also own that battery. And so profits and stuff too are in the battery, and how much talking about expansion. In fact, I read today that they want to put more debt actually into the battery to grow that out some more. And so realistically, even though they made profit this year, they're still actually in debt for that stadium. And as a corporation, they want to get themselves out of debt before they make, any moves as far as a corporation.
Yeah, and as far as the battery, they own the commercial aspect of it.
Commercial assets.
Liquidated the residential side. They sold off all the apartments to a developer. So honestly, that was probably 50, 100 million. Let's see, about 1,000. Yeah, it was probably about 100 million of their profit last year alone, just for selling that.
Yeah, it's just an interesting deal. I mean, like I said, I'm in agreement that I wish Liberty Media would sell. Phil and I chatted a little bit earlier, and I said that I don't see Liberty Media owning this team in 5 years when the big deals for Acuna start coming, Alvey start coming, and stuff like that, because initially is what you're going to see is that the evaluation of that team is going to be 1.5, 1.8 billion, I'm guessing. With the new stadium, the TV deal, everything coming together, you could be looking at a 1.5 billion type style deal, and I do think Liberty Media will get out for that type of money. Phil, were you going to say something? I cut you off.
I've been a fan of single person or like actual person ownership group, not corporate ownership group.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, let's get to Atlanta United talk. We've been waiting so patiently. Phil, give us an update on tonight's matchup.
Yeah, so far so good. We're in the 77th minute. Atlanta United is leading this match 3-0, which means they are leading in aggregate 4-3 right now. So we got about 15 more minutes, and whatever stoppage time is added to hold on to this. It's looking good. We'll be facing Monterrey from Mexico in the Elite Eight quarterfinals in a few weeks. That will be a very entertaining match of Monterrey, one of the best clubs in Liga MX. So great exposure, worldwide exposure for the club if we are able to hold on here in the last few minutes.
This, to me, wasn't a big surprise. We've talked about all this week after that first match that this is a team that could struggle on the road because their field is like playing on cement. It's so quick. The ball just flies. They essentially, to me, they remind me of an indoor soccer team, just how quick the ball skips across. And so they were, had that home field advantage in the fact that they know how that pitch plays, it plays so quick, and it kind of caught, Atlanta United off guard a little bit, just how quick it did play.
Yeah.
So, like I say, talk about last week's first leg matchup.
Yeah, and Atlanta was just not ready last week. You could tell it was their first match together. A lot of new players, a lot of departures, a new coach. They got their footing today. I mean, Joseph came out in the first minute and scored. That really set the tone for what has transpired so far this evening.
Yeah, this is good. I really, really hope they hold on because this will get more exposure for Atlanta United, moving on. And like you said, if they win, they play Monterrey, I believe it was. So, I think that's a matchup that they could win as well. So
MLS season starts Sunday. We're up in DC where there's a chance of a snowstorm, so that will be interesting, and it'll also be interesting to see what lineup we trot out if we do indeed hold on, because Coach said we will stagger this a little bit, and thankfully Atlanta United has a lot of depth. But as if we continue on in CCL, we will see priority given to that. We may see MLS kind of take a back seat until we're out of CCL league, because CCL trophy is more important. Honestly, that's a bigger trophy, more worldwide, more worldwide renowned than an MLS trophy. Let's be honest. And an MLS season is very, very long. I don't think we'll see a Toronto-like collapse. We had much more talent than Toronto did, and I just think we're still, no matter what, we should be. We have a good chance at both.
that CCL trophy would sure look nice in the case next to the MLS Cup. I mean, that's for sure. So
U.S. Open Cup in the middle of summer. I don't care who they put out there. I think Atlanta United as a franchise doesn't even need to focus on U.S. Open Cup.
I agree.
Let's
get Let's get to our newest segment now. We started this last week at the ATL Sports HQ Live mailbag, where we get some user questions on Twitter all over the place, and we answer them for you. I'm going to start off. Clark Morrison, he is at ATL Crap Sandwich, greatest name ever on Twitter. He co-hosts a podcast that I really, really enjoy. It's called the Sports Porchcast. He wants to know, with impending issues surrounding Mike Fultonavich and Kevin Gosman and questions about what Tehran we are getting this year, should we be seriously considering going after Keuchel or Kimbrel, either front of the rotation or the back of the bullpen, and which would I prefer? I would honestly prefer a starting pitcher over a bullpen guy. Again, I think AJ Minter is ready to take over the closer role. I've said this before on previous shows. And so I just think we're lacking that big game pitcher. A lot of people throwing around Dallas Keuchel, but one name that's still out there that kind of interests me that I think would fit in, I wouldn't necessarily say he's an ace, but a guy that I do think would fit in here would be Gio Gonzalez. He's still open. He's still on the free agent market. I think he would be a good fallback if Dallas Keuchel's salary demands are a little too high. And so, like I said, I definitely prefer the front of the rotation instead of the bullpen. But, hey, I'm not saying I wouldn't be happy if Craig Kimbrel ended up on this team. I mean, still an option, still not signed yet. So, and I think, honestly, I think Craig Kimbrel really, really wants to play here. I just think that the Braves just don't want to commit that kind of money to a closer, and I can't blame them. I mean, he's just going to have to come down on his salary a little bit if he wants to play here. So, next question is from our writer, Tushar Patel 87. He wants to know how come nobody is talking about Trey and John Collins as two of the best young talent in the NBA, especially as well as they've been playing since the All-Star game, Phil.
Well, finally, since the All-Star game, you are seeing Bleacher Report and ESPN and those other hype sites, I call them. I absolutely despise and hate them because they'll hype up any highlight and not tell you any rest of the story. They're finally starting to pay a little bit of attention, because how could you not? These two are 4-0. Yep, good night. But these two are putting on an absolute show, and it's an absolute joy to see. And like we said earlier, people are starting to take notice. I mean, how could you not? As a basketball fan, I don't care if we're Atlanta. I don't care if we're a small market or whatever that means to people, even though we're one of the biggest NBA cities in the country when it comes to ratings. I don't understand why people have been ignoring them so long. But it's to the point where they're playing so good that you can't ignore them. That's how good they're becoming. And like I said, the fans are noticing. The arena is noticing. Watch, we're going to have at least 8 national TV games next year, even if we don't sign any big free agents. But I really think we have to build this into something special. I think these two are the I'd say they're the second or third best young couple in the NBA, And I think I'm seeing a lot of, now, yeah, don't go crazy when I say this. I'm seeing a lot of comparisons to, not comparisons, similarities to the young OKC team that started really bad. That when I believe it was 07, 08, they started that season horribly, worst team in the NBA. But over like the last 50 games, they were around 500. And then the very next year, they were good and they pushed the Lakers to 6 games in the first round in a very entertaining series. I really think that we have something similar brewing here where we can really become a force with a young couple or a young triplet of players in the league and just take the league by storm. OKC has turned a small market into one of the best NBA markets in the league.
I would just like to add that they started working that young duo in a small city called Seattle. I just want to throw that out there. So
One of the best NBA cities.
I'm about to burn Derek's shirt because I see it in the background. It's just glaring at me. So if you don't see Derek on the show next week, he's been fired for that, by the way. So my next question is actually for Derek. It comes from my wife. She's too cool to be on Twitter, so she just told me in the room what she wanted to ask. She wants to know, with Dan Quinn keeping Vic Beasley and vowing to have a hands-on approach with him, if Vic fails, should this be the last straw for Dan Quinn, Derek?
It's a great question.
That is, yeah. Should it be the last straw for Dan Quinn? No, but I mean, this is a big risk for him to take because I mean, a lot of people have lost trust in Vic Beasley, even though he's a young guy, and he showed potential in 2016. I mean, he had a great season, but then it's been a constant straight downfall. But I mean, Quinn taking it into his hands to say that he's going to work with him and he believes in what he can do and he can help the team in the future. And I don't think it's going to hurt Quinn if he still does bad because, I mean, I think Quinn has done some great things, even though there has been some negatives. I just think Quinn's just not on that hot seat yet. And I think he still has chances to make moves. I mean, the new coaching staff coming in, it's just a thing that's going to be a process, and I don't see a coaching change happening anytime soon.
All right, I'm going to throw out one last question to all three of us. It just jumped into our chat. Phil, do you think the Falcons are going to draft DeAndre Baker?
No.
Derek, you think they're going to draft DeAndre Baker?
Should we? No. Are we going to? Yes.
I agree with you 100%. Should we? No. Are we? Of course we are. I mean, that's just the Atlanta thing to do.
I'm not going to be mad about it.
Me either. I was just about to say the same thing. It's not like that's a bad draft pick. Let's not get anything wrong. It's just not the position that we really need. But that's how Atlanta tends to draft. We didn't really need a wide receiver, so we took Calvin Ridley. He was okay. I mean, I wasn't disappointed in Calvin Ridley.
It could definitely work into our favor if we do end up drafting him too.
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay if they do draft him, but I just having that high of a pick, I would really like to see them address other positions. But they have lost cornerbacks, and so I mean, it may be a position of need. We don't really know, we don't know yet. So, but I thought that was a really, really good question, by the way, Doug. So appreciate you as always. So, ending shout outs, Phil, what you got, man?
Yeah, definitely shout out everybody listening. Shout out Atlanta United for coming out here and taking care of business. They have only about 2 more minutes that they need to hang on. Heredia would need to score 2 goals, but I've seen crazier things in Atlanta sports history, so that's all I'll say. And just shout out everybody supporting, and really, if you want to be part of ATL Sports HQ in any way, please give us a shout. We're really, really trying to grow this, so we really want you to be part of this.
Derek, who you shouting out?
Yeah, just shout out to everybody that watched and continue to support. We see y'all, the people that come back every week, and we appreciate it a lot. And we hope to continue to grow with this.
I agree. Shout out to everybody in chat. Again, you guys participating is why we do this podcast. So and then shout out to, hold on a sec, I want to make sure that I have her her Twitter real quick. Give me just a sec here. I promise I'll have it. I was supposed to be ready, and I failed as usual. So, shout out to. Let me see here. The Bear 2878 on Twitter. She's my partner in crime at Chop Up, Chop Down. She has done a phenomenal job this week handling spring training games, making sure you guys are all live tweets and stuff for those, especially like me that have been working like crazy and not able to handle early afternoon spring training games. I really, really appreciate you. I could not make that site possible without you partnering up with me. So continue to keep doing good work. I think that's it. So thanks again.
To know it by heart.
What's that?
I say you should remember that at by heart.
Yeah, you think I would, but I can barely remember any names, so that's not shocking at all to me. So, but thank you all for listening to the ATL Sports HQ live podcast, and we will see you all next week.